are back, and this is Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We've been broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios and brought to you by Extreme Exteriors and the American Family Insurance Kim Bennett Agency. Before we wrap up, let's hear from the Community Associations Institute. The CAI Minute is brought to you by Start to Finish Maintenance Contractors. Start to Finish provides 24-hour service for all of your home and business maintenance needs. Call Start to Finish at 952-259-1219 for your home, for your business, and for your peace of mind.
Are you a volunteer in your homeowner association? Maybe a residential property manager wanting to increase your industry knowledge and obtain professional credentials in property management. Are you a vendor or professional offering services to homeowners and associations or property managers? If you said yes to any one of those questions, then join the Community Association Institute. The CAI is a great organization, helping you be informed and more proficient in your homeowner association board member or property manager role. It's also a great way to network with potential clients. For nearly 40 years, CAI has provided education and resources to volunteer homeowners who govern community associations and the professionals who support them. Visit cai-mn.com to learn more. That's cai-mn.com. The Minnesota chapter of CAI holds monthly managers' luncheons, board member education training, property manager certification training, and much more. It also produces a bi-monthly informative magazine called Minnesota Community Living. Why not join the Community Association Institute today? You can do so online at cai-mn.com and select membership.
Well, we've got just a few minutes left in the show today, and we've got one other article that we want to share. It's an editorial, this one coming from the Chaska Herald. And what is important in Chaska, you ask? Why, not only then the largest darn homeowner association in all of Minnesota, called the Jonathan Association. I believe there's probably about 8,000 or so residents. They say about 3,000 plus households.
Yeah, so largest, and wasn't it one of the first?
And one of the first as well. You're right.
This was back in the 70s.
Back in the 70s, And so as one of the oldest and one of the largest, I'm sure they've had their growing pains and their issues just like any other HOA.
I pretty much bet they've had everything happen that could happen, don't you think?
And yes, and this editorial says not only has it happened, but it's happening again. so that's the editorial. It says, here we go again. And what the editor of this piece, and I believe he's also a resident as well in the Jonathan Association, said that there are a few residents in the Jonathan Association who would like to go to the annual meeting, which I think just took place on the 27th, by the way, hoping to install new board members who are favorable of some of them being able to opt out of the HOA.
Yeah, he's talking about how it says a few weeks ago the board was entirely purged and installed new board members were installed. Now, at the next meeting, I think they want to go the other direction. Isn't that it? And they want individual communities to have the right to opt out of the master association.
So you have this master association, a number of subs, and people who will say, we don't like the association.
Right.
We don't want to be a part of it. We want to opt out.
Right.
And he said, here we go again. And he's saying it's kind of a deja vu. He said, constantly washing over us as the city's largest homeowners association, whiplashes from pro-Jonathan to anti-Jonathan and back again.
Yeah.
He says, and I thought this was interesting, the only thing new is whether to use seesaw or pendulum as a metaphor. and I wanted to bring this up because, you know what, we've been talking about that all day today. You know, people who don't agree with others in the homeowner association. And so people have tried and always will try to do what they can to either get their way or to try and divest themselves of it. A couple of ways for people always to divest themselves is to sell their home and move out, and that's what we would advocate.
Yep.
You
Well,
know.
that's the simplest, most straightforward, and honest, I would say, method.
Yes, and to be able to, and sometimes maybe you'd have to cut your losses if that wasn't for you.
You know what?
You know?
Like every other issue in your adult life, you have to weigh the positives and the negatives. Is
Yes.
this fight worth fighting? Am I so upset about this issue that I want to just get out of here? Or, you know what I mean? You have
Yeah.
to make those calls for yourself.
But I wanted to bring up this idea. He was talking about a pendulum, you know,
Yeah.
and I want to, I guess, just confirm for our listeners too that that's really the setup that we have from our founding fathers, and
It's how it was set up to be.
yes, our governance in our federal government, our state government, and that is also comes down to even a homeowners association is meant to have what we call checks and balances, and because our founding fathers put it this way, they said, "Hey, the two very extremes we're talking about here
In government.
life are either tyranny or chaos."
Okay, anarchy.
Anarchy.
Tyranny or anarchy.
Tyranny or anarchy.
The opposite ends of the government spectrum.
Yeah, with anarchy, everybody has their own way, has their own wish.
All the freedom they want.
All the freedom they have. But now you're going to have conflicts with one another because some people's wishes are going to impede on someone else's desires.
That's right.
So you go to the other way, and you end up ultimately you would have tyranny, or you have more control. And so people
Outside controls, laws, supervision, oversight,
rules, regulations, statutes, ordinances,
Yeah.
and our government is set up to be pendulous, you know, in that regard.
To swing somewhere in the middle.
Yes, and so what we're seeing in Jonathan in this editorial here is governance at its best. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it really
That's a good perspective.
I think it really is.
This is how it's supposed to work.
It's how it's supposed to work. Yes, because you have. He was talking about an instance here, and I think we'll bring this up. He said, according to the bylaws, he said there are condominium owners who can vote on behalf of hundreds of other unit owners. What he's referring to is what's called the proxy system.
I see.
He refers to it as a loophole. He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
But that proxy system is part and parcel of being a part of this kind of governance, of being a corporation. And the proxy is just that everybody who is an owner of that corporation has the ability to vote. Now, of course, a lot of people, just because they have that ability to vote, doesn't mean they're going to.
Right.
We see that in all elections all the time on the state and federal.
And you hear complaints about the apathy of residents or the apathy of citizens.
Yes. I remember, a long, long time ago when I was really young, I ran for the Minnesota House of Representatives, lost. And one of the things that I remember is on the ticket, the number of people that voted for president that year, the number of people that voted for our senator was like 10, 12, 15 times more than the people that voted for the House of Representatives. It was a lot less because people said, I don't care. I mean, that's what they're saying.
So they went to the polls and they voted for a president and senators, the federal level, but not the state level.
Yeah,
while you're there, you might as well check somebody up.
But people are saying, "Hey, I didn't pay attention, I don't care."
Yeah.
But you know what? That's our right as a citizen. That's your right as a member of a corporation. And so,
and if you don't want to be ruled by the few, you should show up and vote.
That's right. And so he doesn't like that, but that is politics at its best and at its worst. And so, yes, you have apathy in a homeowner association, but that means that the more organized party on either side of that coin of whatever that issue is
at any given time
is going to be is going to win, is going to be successful, but only for a while, because with this system that we have of checks and balances, When it doesn't happen, that only is as good as until the next election.
There you
White
go.
folks I work with ain't so bad.
Yes, and so that is something I think folks just need to remember.
Yeah.
There's if you don't like something in your HOA, there's always another election around the corner, and you can make those changes. And so I hope that people will be maybe a little bit more optimistic about an HOA and how it works. Well, that's about all the time that we have for right today here on Where You Live with Gene and Tony. It's been great having you with us. We hope that you're with us next Sunday. Have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll see you here next week.